You can go all across America, and this is the coolest game you'll find. Moving 44 pounds of granite down a sheet of ice in a game of millimeters, it's a unique blend of strategy and sweat, and it's helped curling capture the imagination of sports fans throughout the nation. So it's only appropriate that for this season, we ride the rocking game's growing wave of popularity to the southeast, Raleigh, North Carolina, where America's best are back to take on the world in a four-nation round-robin tournament for the coveted American Cup. Tonight, draw number 3, and skip Jamie Sinclair is back in the house to lead a U.S. women's team with a new lineup in tow. Will they be able to outlast a young, fiery Scottish squad hoping to set the tone and draw one? We'll get our answer tonight. NBCSN Curling Night in America. NBCSN presents another edition of NBCSN Curling Night in America. Our season setting up shop in Raleigh, North Carolina, city named for Sir Walter Raleigh, who attempted to establish the first English colony on the shores of the New World in the 1850s. We've set up a little curling colony inside the Polar Iceplex. Our featured game tonight, Jamie Sinclair and the United States women paired up against Team Scotland.
Welcome back to Raleigh, and welcome back to another edition of NBCSN Curling Night in America. Jason Knapp with you here. If you haven't been with us before, don't worry. It's pretty simple to follow along. We've got 4 nations on hand: Scotland, Japan, Italy, and the United States, each bringing 3 teams for men's, women's, and mixed doubles play. Double round-robin format. Each team plays the other 3 in its division twice. We'll have division winners, and the overall nation brings home the American Cup. Pete Fenson, as usual, 2006 Olympic bronze medalist, 8-time U.S. national champ, is here. Pete, it's our first full game look at Jamie Sinclair and the United States women. Multiple U.S. national titles for Sinclair, and before an untimely injury, oh so close to making the World Championship playoffs last year.
Yeah, with a less than ideal finish for Team Sinclair at the World Championships this last year, they now have some new members of the team, a new lineup, and it'll be very interesting to see how they meld together.
They'll take on a young Scottish team tonight. Of course, in this past decade, World Championship, Olympic medals for Eve Muirhead, the top Scottish threat. We'll see how Maggie Wilson and her team deal with the international stage of this event.
Yeah, young and without a lot of international experience, it will be interesting to see how this team from Scotland manages this championship ice.
The bright lights, the cameras, they are all here. So is the matchup, our featured game, the United States and Scotland women. Before the contest, time for us to check in with our colleague, Tanith White.
U.S. skip Jamie Sinclair is now leading what she considers to be her dream team and the one she hopes to take to the next Olympic Games in 2022. But all of the excitement with this new lineup is really magnified when compared with the heartbreak Jamie felt not too long ago when her team failed to qualify to the 2018 Olympic Games, something she said at the time she had to put a Band-Aid over her heart to recover from. Then again at the World Championships last season, tripping over a stone, an unexpected outcome, forcing her out of what would be the U.S. women's final game of those championships. So when she and I caught up early this week, she had a lot to reflect on, and she brought a perspective of hindsight of the bigger picture, telling me she now feels like she needed those and other high-pressure situations to really hone her leadership skills, develop into the athlete she is today. She says that's someone who she thinks will be at peak performance and able to capitalize on her next opportunity to qualify to the Olympic Games.
That is the ultimate goal, couple of years down the road for Jamie Sinclair and her team. They'll play Red Rocks in this game, Yellowstones for Scotland, which shoots first. Team Sinclair has the hammer here, the opening of 8 ends in this one. Ailey Yeats from Inverness in Scotland, the lead for Maggie Wilson's team, the skip.
Push it. Go.
Scott's trying to pull this one into the 4-foot to start the end.
Okay.
Taylor Anderson, 24-year-old from Broomall, PA. Twin sister Sarah, been a part of this team in years past. Alternate right now. Of course, she's playing mixed doubles at this event with Corey Dropkin.
shot, Tay. Good weight.
Hit and stay, and we're underway from Raleigh. NBCSN Curling Night in America is being brought to you by TeamUSAShop.com, where every purchase helps support your Team USA athletes. By the World Curling Federation, proud supporter of curling everywhere. By the 20,000 plus members of USA Curling. And by Toyota, going places. The remainder of end number 1 set the table, Pete, for a blank opportunity for Jamie Sinclair. And that's the option she'd like to take.
Pretty straightforward first end here. Jamie Sinclair, the intern, hit and roll out to blank the first end, carry the hammer into end number 2.
So the power of the hammer more important than points there for Team USA. They'll retain that last shot advantage as we work our way into the second end after a scoreless first. So Scotland opening the shooting here in end 2. Haley Yeats firing away.
4-5.
Pete, a lot of times too,
Really hard for line. 3-34.
for a skip blank first end, does it just kind of relax you a little bit, kind of get you into your game plan?
Yeah, oftentimes it does. I know Jamie has a tendency to like to play the first end off once in a while, and now she's got a chance here in the even end, the second end, with the hammer to try and put some points on the board.
So we'll see if the U.S. can do that while we take a moment to meet Team Scotland.
Ailey Yates, Inverness, Scotland.
Maggie Wilson, Aberdeen, Scotland.
Jennifer Marshall, Edinburgh, Scotland.
I'm gonna cross the wall.
Rebecca Morrison, Aberdeen, Scotland.
Taylor Anderson leading off again for the United States. Two-time U.S. junior national champion and a world junior silver medalist in 2016, along with her twin sister Sarah, and with Corey Christensen, the third on this team. She was the skip of that junior team that finished on the podium a few years ago. So one in play for the United States. Let's get to know the members of Team USA.
Taylor Anderson, Broomall, Pennsylvania.
Vicky Persinger, Fairbanks, Alaska.
Corey Christensen, Duluth, Minnesota.
Jamie Sinclair, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeats playing again for Scotland. Pete, so many teams in the Scottish pipeline, of course headlined by Eve Muirhead, 2013 world champ, Olympic bronze medalist from Sochi, fourth in Pyeongchang. She's had her hip issues in the past couple of years, but trying to get healthy. Last year was Sophie Jackson's team that stunned Muirhead at the Scottish event. She went to Worlds. And this team trying to put itself in the conversation maybe a couple of years down the road for Beijing.
Yeah, Scotland always tends to have a pretty deep program. Lots of good young players. And in this case, chasing Eve Muirhead and her team. But they've always been able to produce some top-level teams.
5, make it, Benny. 5. We're gonna be deep. Okay? I think you gotta finish it, Vic.
Second for Taylor Anderson.
All the way, Vic. Go, 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 go. Well, as long as we're in.
Taking that one as deep as they can to get it buried, get as much curl out of it as possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Ends up just the back of the 12-foot. Again, for those of you just learning about the game, closest rocks to the center of the house, the scoring area, closer than the nearest one of the other team. Those are the ones that count in each end. And when you've got hammer like Team Sinclair does again here in the second, you'd always love to get 2 or more. That's why Jamie didn't want to take just a single point in the first. Opted to keep the hammer again and try to maximize its potential here with multiple points in this end. Jennifer Marshall, the second for Scotland, playing her first. From Edinburgh.
Ailey, if you can, if it's possible. I think Ailey anyway. Right back to buried.
Trying to get this rock buried
Right back. Can't hurt it. Go, 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 go.
behind their own 2 yellows. A little extra weight here. This one's sliding
Nice
to the back of the 4-foot, so a little opportunity now for Jamie Sinclair if she chooses to take it.
Just a hair high.
Looks like she's going to try and open up the front.
I think it's going to be
Could
good.
also just throw the draw, follow Scotland down,
Yeah, you're right.
get under cover.
And a look at Vicky Persinger. Calls Fairbanks, Alaska home. Was second for a couple of seasons with Jamie Sinclair's squad. Played third for Corey Christensen's team last year. Now back at second with Team Sinclair this year. And great work for Persinger.
Really nice weapon. There we see that Vicky brings to this team. She's able to throw it hard with accuracy, get some rocks moved around.
Give me the same ice, though. Taylor. Nice,
Spins that third rock all the way out of the 8-foot.
Alert movement from Sinclair in the house there with those rocks banging around to
Yeah, really hard.
avoid getting tagged by it. Next here for Marshall and Scotland.
Slow. Get it over. Okay, that's fine there. Sorry, that one's a slow one. Yeah.
Scott's attempting to come around that red center guard.
Yeah, we just give it a...
Coming up quite short.
Do you think for like a 4? Yeah, 4. Yep.
Next coming for Persinger. She actually played with Team Sinclair at Worlds last year as their 5th. And as the alternate, she had to come off the bench in the final game of round robin play when Jamie had gotten hurt tripping on a rock during handshakes of the previous game. Vicky played pretty well, though the U.S. ended up losing that game to eventual world champion Switzerland, and it kept them out of the playoffs. To the top of the 12-foot for the second from Persinger.
Vicky being asked to switch gears there after that double peel on her first. Attempting to draw around the double center guards. Manages to get it to the 12-foot, but Scotland still lies 1.
10 close. 5, 6. Easy, Jen. Clean. 7. Lights right by Gailey's. 7, 8.
It's not breaking.
8, 9.
It's coming now.
8.
Maggie Wilson
Okay, yeah, Ailey.
hoping this will settle down.
Really hard, Gailey. Really hard.
Okay.
Good, Maggie.
Scotland lying 2 right now, but Jamie Sinclair has the hammer, hoping to use it effectively as play rolls on tonight on NBCSN Curling Night in America.
Yeah. I think I was just too soft on my release.
Final rocks N2, looking for our first score of this game between Scotland and the United States in women's play. On NBCSN Curling Night in America, Corey Christensen, Minnesota native, 24 years of age, skipped her own team in the past through juniors and in the U.S. High Performance program last season, but coming to play third and pair up with Jamie Sinclair this season.
Right to it. Hard, Vic, all the way there. Go. Hard, Vic. Yep. Hard.
Corey's always been an extremely talented player, great shot maker. There we see an example of just that.
Jamie Sinclair said she's excited that Christensen had an interest in joining up with me. Easy blend of strategy together. And the shot making, as you talked about, is there for Christensen. Maggie Wilson now for Scotland again. Pete, what we've seen for some different teams in various countries over the years, the skip not in that traditional last rock shooting role. She's shooting third. It's Rebecca Morrison who's shooting last rocks, but still you've got the skip now in that third spot calling the game.
Yeah, definitely a different dynamic that needs to be managed with the person throwing last rocks does sweep some. So they have to get the traffic coordinated between the two.
Yeah. So just lock it on, but I'd like to move it a foot. Okay. You like that?
Will be similar
Yeah, I do.
to draw shot where this side will be stiffer.
And again, Pete,
This is gonna
we talk
kill
about
her.
Christensen,
Yes,
who skipped
So
just about
90?
all the way up through the development of her career.
yes.
Now moving into a role where she's not the one calling the game. What's the adjustment like for a Skip to play in a different spot where you're not the ultimate decision maker?
I'm good.
I think that move for Corey in this case from
Jay,
skip to
Jay,
third
you gotta go. Jay.
will be a relatively
Come on,
easy
Jay.
transition. She's such a great shot maker, and she brings so much knowledge to the team. I think she'll really fit in nicely with Jamie and the rest of the squad.
Roll. Okay, roll it.
That clips off that guard up top. Vicky Persinger actually adding Corey's a little less type A than most skips anyway, so everything's kind of meshing pretty well for this team.
Here Corey being asked to switch sides of the ice here, coming to the middle with the out turn. And obviously a little different speed on that side of the sheet.
Stone.
Yeah.
So just watch it.
U.S. is lying one. A lot of traffic out front, outside the house. These teams to deal with here at the final few rocks. And you look at Rebecca Morrison, again shooting last rocks. 23 years of age from Glasgow. Again, she skipped her own team in the past, but joining Wilson's rink this year and shooting last rocks.
Ailey, go, go.
They actually went head-to-head a couple of times at the Scottish Nationals with their respective teams last year. They split their two meetings with one another.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, it was pretty frosty out there. Yeah.
Both teams
Think we still
trying to
have
get
to
dialed
play
in on the
outside,
ice
right?
here with the speed and the curl.
I'm almost wondering with the way it curls if you could still get in here on this turn. I don't know.
That guard's pretty long. That red rock just delivered by Corey Christensen. There's probably room to get to the 4 foot to lie 2 still.
No, like, has it sped up?
Yep.
Yeah, wait,
Yep.
half a second slow.
Just carve it in as soon as we're past. Yes.
Okay. I mean, look at how short Corey came up. Maybe 6 feet, 4 feet. I was 3 to 4.
So Jamie Sinclair sliding back,
Try to
dual
get
citizen
right
of
to
Canada and the United
nose
States.
Okay.
Born in
Do you still
Anchorage,
think this is
Alaska,
similar
to
draw shot
Canadian
where this side of
parents
the
who were
sheet is maybe like 4 feet
stationed
slower
there
because
with the
of curl?
military,
Sounds good.
recruited
as soon as
by
we're
the
past, just
U.S.
have
after
that.
growing up in Canada to play in the high performance program a few years ago. And she's notched multiple U.S. national titles so far.
I like the wheat.
Mine's
Top
nice.
8. Top 4. 6, 5, 6.
Close.
Want to go? Yep.
So Vicky Persinger and Taylor Anderson did get a look at one rock down this path. They should have a pretty good idea of how it's going to run.
Yep, stay on it, stay on it. Yep, go, 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 go.
They just kissed that guard.
Good sweep.
It's probably a couple of feet light out of Jamie's hand.
I think your weight was great.
Turns over and really makes a move towards the center line.
Stay on it. Yep, go, 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 go.
Do we want to leave it high?
Yep, stay on it, stay on it. Yep, go, 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 go.
Do we want to leave it high?
Skip, you got quite a bit less ice.
I think so. I like the top.
One rock left for each team here in the second.
Scotland
Just
throwing
put
the
one out
in-turn
once,
now.
in the
That
same way,
out-turn
I'll just
path
play.
is still there.
Same weight's okay.
We've taken a bit less ice. So.
See what Morrison can come up with the Scots' final throw in this end.
Up on last. 9, 10. 9, 10.
Back
Line.
line.
10. Whoa.
Lots of weight here.
Whoa.
Jen, Jen, Jen. Get it past.
Line only, line only. Okay. All right.
That one over curls.
The weight was nice.
A little bit of an issue there for the Scots. Front end is communicating that it's heavy. So the vice lets it run, turns over and catches that rock in the top of the 12 foot.
Is little slower, a tip slower than her draw shot, or same?
So the U.S. lying 1. Any possibility or best possibility here for 2?
Well, Jamie's just got to draw to the 4-foot for 2. An interesting point here now. She's switched to the in-turn. She just threw the out-turn draw on her first one. Oftentimes you'd like to throw 2 shots down the same path if you get a chance.
Only American skip to ever win a Grand Slam title when she won the Players in April of 2018.
Line's nice. You got room right now.
4th place at the Worlds that year.
No, it's running.
Just outside the playoff picture in 2019.
Where?
Finishing 7th.
Don't want to. Can we rub?
Not anymore.
Nope.
It's okay.
Cannot get that to slow down in time to notch a deuce. So it's simply a single for Sinclair, but the U.S. leads through 2.
Is it bad if I say it's too soon to talk about? I mean, that whole event, leading up to the event, we felt extremely prepared and really ready to give it our all. And we did all week. It was a great week for the team. We played really well, came down to the last game. It wasn't my best performance, so I definitely let the team down, I think. I don't have enough good things to say about the team for rallying after those Olympic trials because it was so devastating and heartbreaking. We still had a lot of the season left. We played in the Players' Championship, the Grand Slam of curling. We kind of went in with no expectations, and I think that's kind of what helped us play really loose, and we had a lot of fun, and we ended up performing really well. So we went all the way to the finals up against Jennifer Jones and ended up taking home the trophy, which was just a great way to finish off the season.
And that's all. Jamie Sinclair, the first American team to win a slam, takes the Players' Championship.
I mean, we went to the World Championships as well. They were in Canada after those Olympic trials, and we had a great run there. It was our first time competing at the Worlds, so it was a great learning experience for us. It's overall great performance by the team, and we set a few records there as well, so it was pretty fun.
Great lesson from how Jamie Sinclair took maybe the biggest disappointment of her career. And a few months later, she and her team reached a career high with that Grand Slam victory here on NBCSN Curling Night in America. 1-0 lead on Team Scotland. The United States playing here in the 3rd. Scots have the hammer in this end with Christensen going for the Americans.
6-7. Okay, bit of room. Line's good, Vic. 6. Yep.
Corey throwing the in-turn here, trying to go right into the top of the 4-foot.
Hard, Vic. Hard. Go, Vicky. Hard. You're good.
Well done. Trying to get it to sit down, but the U.S. does have a couple near the button.
And they really had to sweep for line there, Jason, to get it past those guards, and because of that, it ends up in the back of the button. Pretty good throw by Corey. Had they not had to sweep it quite so much, that probably is perfect.
U.S. does lie 3. Wilson ready to go now for Team Scotland.
Scotland trying to get things opened up a little bit here.
Yep.
Improve the situation a little bit. They've got that rock right on the center line now that they can run in if they want to.
I think similar speed, maybe a touch less.
Yeah, a little less. Just a touch less, yeah. I think that 90 is close.
Yeah. The hair tight, Vic.
Hold back on it. Yep. Yep, you gotta go, Vic.
Says she pulled back a little bit on it, meaning the sweepers will have to do a little extra work.
And a quick sweep call by Jamie out of hand. It was tight. The line was tight, and you can see this one already is over curled.
Sure, that's touchy.
Yep. Sorry.
Okay, you're good.
That's weird.
Sorry about that.
I think it's just super sensitive. It's not the rock, right?
I don't think
So team going through kind of their post shot, making sure it's not the rock, and that's more on the player. And you're willing to admit that so that situation doesn't arise again later on.
Yeah, they're just making sure, confirming that, you know, Corey said right out of hand. She pulled on it a little bit. Even if that rock is a little bit doggy, it's still not going to come up that short.
That's so good. Still the same sort of.
I think so, yeah. It's coming off at the end.
So now Wilson hoping to capitalize off the miss from Team USA.
4, 5.
Line's good.
Yeah, really hard, Ben. Line's nice. Yep, Jen. Stay on it. 5, 6. Hard, Jen. Yep, hands down. Go hard. Really hard.
Going hard here for distance.
Really hard. Go. Really hard.
Good try.
Hand to stop. Good sweep there by the Scottish front end. Not quite able to get shot rock out of it. Pick this up right when it's released. Just got it by their top one.
Right.
It's in there for second shot.
Do you like that? I mean, I just feel like even if you throw a guard, she's still going to have that draw in there.
Yeah. Had you 3/4. I think that should be close.
Yep.
Don't mind maybe a hair more.
Okay.
See those two yellow rocks are lined up right towards the button. If Scotland so chooses.
Corner freeze their 1 top 8, that's fine.
Okay.
And this might be a hair slower, wider.
Yeah, it's the slow stuff.
So Jamie took a little more ice now. Here, Taylor mentioned that it might be a little bit slower out here. Fresh spot, fresh track in the sheet.
I like it.
Well, I like the weight.
Weight's good.
Line's good.
7, 8.
Okay, easy. You got room right now. It's really running.
To it.
Stay close.
7.
Easy. Whoa.
Front end likes it.
Where?
Looks like plenty of
Go
weight.
behind. Go behind here. Yep. Go then.
No. Just freeze it.
Okay.
A foot or two heavy.
Sorry, Jen.
If that stops top button, it's really good.
Yeah. Just to be inside.
See a little bit of air there between that rock just delivered by Jamie and the yellow rock
Control.
Okay.
in the top of the 4 foot. So Scotland's got a chance to maybe wiggle into the button off of that red stone. And play the double and try and roll under cover. Allow them to lie 2.
Morrison hopes to be the one to wiggle one in there. Again, the young Scot sliding out of the hack, ready for the release and trying to get this on target.
Yes, Jen. Hard.
Over 100 feet away at the other end of the ice.
She can make this double and actually roll to the outside of the 4 foot, and this would turn out pretty good for Scotland. But she does sneak by that top rock to lie 2.
Beauty
Nice shot.
for Becca Morrison.
It's again a hard sweep for line. They just get by their top one, roll right to the button. And that's the problem with Jamie Sinclair's draw, just being a couple of feet heavy. She left that shot available.
So smiles for the Scots. 1 stone left each for each team in the third.
Try and get here.
I think that might be easier. Quarter rock.
Yep. You're trying to go for this one, right?
Yeah, and then tolerance is thick for the top one.
Yep.
I think inside out should be pretty straight.
Yep.
I think easy peel.
So Jamie could throw
I don't think it'll move a whole
a
lot.
draw,
I like that.
freeze the rock on the button, and probably force Scotland to take one. She's elected to throw a little in off,
About a quarter.
trying to make the double.
Maybe a hair less. Easy. I think it'll be pretty straight.
Heard her tell Corey if she
What an angle for Sinclair. Only issue is that
double the shooter spun out the top. Catches this first one just a little bit thinner. She sticks it right on the button. See, she catches just a quarter of a rock. That's what she was aiming at.
now the front end had the brooms up, ready to celebrate, but from Jamie's reaction, she knew a little too much action on the shooter. But still, Scotland has to execute here to
Okay, 7's good. Just
pick
stay
up
on
multiple
rushing.
points, and that look tells you a lot.
Can't touch it.
Not happy with that one, right out of her
Not moving
hand.
enough yet.
It's coming down a lot now.
Coming.
Go, Ailey.
And that will not, it looked like, stick for second.
Measure it.
Yeah, let's say 2 yellows, so measure.
Measure?
Well, the Scots think it's
Okay,
two
so one for
yellows.
Sure, yeah.
It's definitely one. And then time for us to pull out the old measuring stick. While they get it ready, we'll let you enjoy these messages. As we went to break, a call for the stick to measure who had second shot. Stick says it's Team USA. So it's just a single for Scotland and one apiece after 3. Fourth end, Rock's already in the house.
No, like just
And the U.S. Pete has hammer in this low-scoring affair.
still same weight.
I think so, yeah.
Maggie Wilson ready to play for Team Scotland.
Team USA dodging a bit of a bullet there with Scotland missing that draw for a pair.
Wait, 9. 10, 3. 3's okay. Just keep it high for line. 2's okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. 1. Just over. 1. Whoa, whoa for line. Over and up.
So another high guard played by Scotland, but are they linked too close together now?
Just straight draw.
Double peels there if they
Straight draw,
want.
Draw, right?
I think, yeah, just top button.
Okay. I'm 1-2 now, right?
Yes.
Jamie's asking Corey
I
Christensen to
think I
just
can
throw the
throw
intern
4-0.
draw
I
into
think
the
it's
top of the
nice here.
button.
Yeah.
Okay.
That guard stopping where it did. It's practically out of play. So much curl in the ice.
Yep. Copy.
Yeah, go girls. Hard, Vicky.
Hard. Line's good. Top
Corey
button.
Christensen
Top floor. Yep.
Hard, Vicky.
3. Line's real good. Fire's real good.
Come on, go.
watching
go,
the
go,
front
go,
end
go,
work
go,
with
go,
Herstone.
Come on, go, 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 go.
Now Sinclair getting invested in the sweeping.
Okay.
Big sweep there by Anderson and Persinger. Not able to get it to the top of the button for Shot Rock.
Like this. Yeah. Think so. Okay, so just a wee bit more. Rebecca, 3.
Touch more than last.
3 is good.
Probably a little bit less than that. You know.
Looks like Scotland lies 2 in the back of the forefoot.
Wilson playing again.
Okay, 3, 2.
That's heavy.
3, 3.
Looks like they're just throwing a guard.
2, 3.
Could go right in where Team USA was
Just needs to sit down.
attempting, right on the top of the button if they wanted to lie 3.
That's good, Maggie.
Jamie's got the out turn tap on that red rock in the corner, the top corner of the forefoot. In turn draw still there as well.
Angle
like
it
that?
into ours.
Like this, get things open.
Yeah, I guess I like getting rid of
easy.
it. Okay.
Would you say easy? It's
Yeah.
almost as much as you can see.
Okay.
You got this, Corey.
It's kind of angling this across the sheet, trying to make contact with their own rock and run it into the pile.
But look at all the rocks in front of the house, in the house that Christensen's got to deal with.
Good try.
Trying to get that run back to clip another stone in the house. Not there.
Needed to curl a little bit more, make contact with that rock on the top of the forefoot. Actually hitting either one of those red stones
It's us. It's close.
would advance it into the forefoot.
Zone 2 is good.
Yep, okay. Similar to Maggie's possession?
Scotland throwing another guard, just zone 2, so halfway between the house and the hog line.
Yeah. I just had to make sure that I was there.
Yeah, tolerance is tough, I guess, but still.
Morrison's turn.
2, 3. 2's fine.
Running likes to wait.
3. Let it dig in then. 3. Never touch it. Never touch it.
3's tight to the rings.
2. 2's
Whoa,
fine.
whoa,
2's
whoa,
fine.
nothing.
Just after that.
We really see these finish and curl a lot as the weight comes off.
Nice weight.
One still ends up in a pretty good spot.
Okay.
A healthy dose of guards fired out by
I
Team
had
Scotland
you
here
middle,
in this
you
end.
were up there, so I think 3/4.
Will it lead to a force of Team USA? Maybe a steal? We'll see.
And they're currently lying 2 as well.
Yeah, touch slower.
And we have backing, so.
Yeah.
Jamie just playing the in-turn draw again.
Okay. Is it still that 4-0-ish here?
I think a 95 would be nice.
Even a 90. No. So it's slowed down just a hair?
Well, yeah, we're just thinking this is a bit of a wider path.
It is, yeah. Top, got to be a piece of the button, guys.
Okay.
You see Jamie Sinclair listing Charlotte, North Carolina as her hometown, playing here this weekend in Raleigh. She's got ties to North Carolina. Remember, grew up in Canada as a dual citizen of Canada and the United States. When she decided to play for Team USA, she didn't have a home club in the U.S. She had come to the Charlotte Curling Club to teach a clinic and play in an event. So the people were so amazing, so welcoming, like family. So she decided to make it her home club. Gotta be fun to be playing back here at this event in Raleigh as she delivers a beauty right there down Tobacco Road, or Tobacco Ice here for one right now.
That's okay.
3-9.
Nice shot there by Jamie Sinclair. See how much it curled after it went by the guard to stop in the back of the button.
Right on top of hers. Even if it's short and blocks her drawing the
So a
line, it's
Carolina
not
beauty
bad.
there for
Yeah, that's fine.
Sinclair. And now what does Scotland do here? See if Morrison follows right in.
That's the call here. She's just playing the same in-turn draw, trying to freeze right on top of that rock, just delivered by Jamie Sinclair.
6, 7. Line's nice. 6, 7. Back line 7. Whoa, just there.
Sorry, that really
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, Rebecca.
Misjudged a little bit by the front end, but I don't think they could have gotten it to the tee line. Even with end-to-end sweeping, that one comes up quite short.
With like a hair more.
And those guards are pretty high.
Right, because you're kind of chipping it.
That is an active end of ice with a lot of rocks.
Yeah, no, I think it'll come nice here.
Yeah, a little messy here for Team USA having the hammer. Lots of rocks in front of the rings.
James. So like back 4, back 8 weight? Okay, because that was like
Jamie's
my
looking
draw
through the
shot
out-turn
throw.
tap for 2. She probably could make the in-turn again. We saw how much the first one curled.
Don't mind a hair more, Corey.
Okay.
And I think you'll need like 4.
As soon as we're by, have at her.
Okay.
Yeah.
This side's a little slower.
Yeah.
This is the type of game that Jamie, I think, enjoys. Said she learned the game from her dad, Graham. His motto was like to win, but love to battle. This is a battle right now, especially in this end, trying to see if she can pull off the tap for 2.
Okay. All right. One red, yep.
It won't get there. It's 1 for the U.S., and the battle rages on. The Americans with a tenuous 1-point lead here at the break on NBCSN Curling Night in America.
I wasn't quite as positive as I
We're off and rolling on this night in Raleigh, North Carolina. NBCSN Curling Night in America, brought to you by the Olympic Channel, home of Team USA. And the Team USA we're featuring tonight, Jamie Sinclair's squad, in front by 1. Scotland in another game during this draw, leading Japan in men's action 2-1. John Schuster and the U.S. men deadlocked with Italy at the break. And the final game in this session, the Japanese women with a 4-2 advantage against the Italians. Jason Knapp, Pete Benson, Tanith White with you. Jamie Sinclair, opportunity in the opening end, decides to take the blank.
Wide open end number 1. Jamie's got an in-turn hit and roll away for the blank.
So she keeps the hammer, hoping to score 2 or more in the second, but can only get 1.
After a great draw to lie 1, she has this freebie for 2. A little heavy.
That's a common theme here. Rebecca Morrison couldn't capitalize on getting more than 1 in the third. She's a bit long, and then Sinclair with another opportunity to get a deuce in the fourth.
Jamie having to go to the out turn wide around a guard, trying to make a tap into the forefoot for 2. This one just over curls.
Still the U.S. up 1, and Jamie Sinclair talking about it with Tanith.
All right, Jamie, we saw some great shots in that first half. It's a tight match, but already the synergy on this team so apparent. How happy are you with the way things have led off so far in this match?
Yeah, no, I'm thrilled to be playing with these girls out there, and although like it is our first couple games together, we're grooving pretty good, and things are going well. Communication is good, so we're just trying to make as many shots as we can.
Now, speaking of communication, we saw you talking to your coach just a moment ago. What adjustments are you looking to make now in the second half to clinch the win?
It's really just figuring out the ice. Both sides of the sheet are a little bit different, so it's just making the correct adjustments depending on what side of the sheet you're on.
All right, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tana thanks Jamie Sinclair and Team USA with a 2-point lead here at halftime on NBCSN Curling Night in America. You know, Jamie's made no secret about her heartbreak after falling just short in her Olympic dream in the 2017 Olympic trials in Omaha. But when all was said and done, she ended up on an Olympic curling team, the NBC Olympics curling team. Here's more.
My plan was to watch from home and just kind of, curl up on the couch and watch. But no, I ended up getting a last-minute call to go and commentate with NBC, the Olympics. So I figured it was such a great opportunity. So I booked a flight and went over. I'd never done that kind of commentating before. It's a different kind of nerve, definitely on the opposite side of the camera, a different perspective of the game. But yeah, I found that it was similar as far as nerves, and in a way, you're still mic'd. You're still on a microphone, whether you're on the ice or commentating. So you're still like weary about what you're saying and how you're phrasing things. Because of the time change and everything, we basically worked all night and then slept during the day, which was interesting to get used to. We basically just would go into the studio about, I don't know, something like 4 in the morning, and we would, have all this hair and makeup done, which was elaborate. And then we would have a lot of on-screen time where they would, do the fourth and break interviews and stuff. And then we would go into the booth and do the commentary for the games.
They're saying line's good. She can't remove this guard from play, but she can move it over, try to get it off of that center line.
The whole process, it took quite a while, but it was a blast. I learned a lot, that's for sure.
Little bit different piece of the curling spotlight for Jamie Sinclair during the Pyeongchang Games. You understand what it's like to leave the ice and go into the booth?
Yeah, I actually had the privilege to work with Jamie a little bit during that run. She had a few questions about how things go, obviously.
The good news is, when you're in the booth and not on the ice, you've realized you're unbeaten all time, right? You can't lose.
Never miss.
Perfect scenario for some. Ailey Eates playing now here for Scotland.
And Jamie did make an interesting comment that it's a different perspective. You definitely see the game a little differently when you're not standing on the sheet of ice.
Jamie said she actually found herself listening to the conversations of the opposition a little bit more. You're so focused kind of on yourself and your team, like she is in this game, a tight one tonight with Scotland.
Yep.
Fifth end still looking for our first deuce
Yep.
of this women's game between the United States and Scotland. 2-1 at this point. One red rock for Team USA. Right now in the house is Vicky Persinger. Plays the next for the Americans.
One. Got a bit of room. 1, 2.
Vicky attempting to put a guard on the one in the forefoot.
Gotta get going. All the way. Yep. Go. Yep. Hard 10. Yep. Good.
Big sweep to get that one into play, but that's extremely long. I think Scotland can still get at this rock in the forefoot.
Yeah. It's this stolen. I'm gonna have to try and play it a wee bit up. Okay. So it's barrier weight in the end. That's fine. The guard's okay. Okay.
Jennifer Marshall, strong numbers shooting wise, first 4 ends.
Really hard.
In a table setting role for Team Scotland.
Right over.
The message was the guard's okay, meaning
Thank you.
basically hit something red.
Put it back.
Just turn him in.
Yeah, that one.
Which is what she did, so Scotland has one short of the rings, actually probably halfway between the house and the hog line, which is a little traffic that will help Team USA here. Corey Christensen going to try and guard the one on the forefoot again.
About the same. 2. Two's okay. 3. Room. 3, 2.
This one's a little tighter to the rings, which is good.
Gotta finish it over. Yep. Okay. Whoa. Sorry.
A little better guard. Even though half is exposed, the rock's a little tighter to the rings, something that is a little bit more usable for Team USA.
I think so. Barrier?
You taught me that.
Oh, I thought
meant
that's
the
what you
guards.
were meant.
Yeah.
I'd rather get it that.
Yeah. Right there. Cool.
Interesting here. Looks like the Scots are electing to peel the guard. They could chase the one in the house. I think they can
Yeah, just play full.
definitely get to it.
Martin here's wide and take the one in the house, but I think just get rid of the guard. Okay.
taking the guard out the safer play at this point for Team Scotland?
Well, safer maybe, but the one in the forefoot's pretty accessible with all the curl in the ice, and it's at least half open anyway. They could dig that out of there. But they do that. It does leave
One in the wing.
that pretty good center guard there still for Team USA, so they elect to take the guard off.
And Wilson had conviction in doing that. Does make it happen. And the U.S. 2 with that biter in the back of the 12-foot. So a count of 2 currently.
Same shot here for Corey Christensen, just putting the guard back.
Pretty high.
Easy, Vicky.
A little bit
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty deep.
Whoa, easy.
Again, this will really finish as the weight comes off. You can see it headed towards the center line there in a hurry. A little better guard.
And Scotland keen on removing this guard too.
Yeah.
Could also play, could run the guard into the house. Try and make the double on the rock in the forefoot.
Yep.
You gotta go, Whaley. Nice! Really gotta go, Whaley. Hard in the roll, girls.
Want to roll the shooter out of there.
Hard. Hard, Rebecca. Go, Rebecca.
I think I still at this side, right?
Yeah.
Sort of. I think similar. I think
Now
Yep.
Jamie
Gonna be right here.
yeah.
going to come around that guard that was left.
Yep.
It's a chance to lie 3, but get this nicely into the forefoot now.
I think this is just as nice as your practice shots.
Okay. Half in the 4 is pretty good.
Okay.
Heard Jamie before talking about
It's a good speed.
having a new coach this year, Kathy Overton Clapham. Highly decorated, 5-time winner of the Scotties, Canadian Women's Nationals, 2008 world champion, one of her 3 world medals all time. So Jamie's got some different players in the lineup this season and a new voice to chime in as well.
Where?
A little different perspective.
Okay.
It's trying to dig.
Another set of eyes.
Mine's good.
8, 7,
Just let
8.
it stop.
Kathy brings tons of experience to the team.
13-7. Taylor's rock.
Jamie
still.
said-
Taylor's rock. Right here.
Great
Straight,
addition,
straight,
the respect
straight,
from
straight.
playing
Easy,
her
easy.
over the years, and then all those chats working together on some Olympic television broadcasts at Pyeongchang.
Good throw.
I like that line right here.
Yeah. there's-
Nice one there to the top of the 4-foot for Sinclair. U.S. does lie 3. Meantime, we were talking about Pyeongchang. Few fellas that had some success there. Members of John Schuster's gold medal winning team playing here tonight against Italy. Team Schuster tied at 2, looking to get a draw going, but it's not there. And Italy will steal 1 to go ahead of the gold medal winning Skip and his team through 5. More on that coming up as we get back to the final rocks here in the 5th end of this one. Scotland has the hammer, and Morrison is the last rock shooter for Team Scotland. First of her 2 here in the 5th.
Morrison way out wide with the intern trying to get this rock into the forefoot.
That's not going to get there. That's a big miscue. Fails to cross the hog line, so it's gone and taken out of play.
Play this way. I mean,
Just got way out in the weeds there in the slow stuff,
yeah.
and obviously tricked a little.
And the front end almost didn't react to even give it a chance to get there.
Gotta just get it here.
I think this side is slower.
So a complete misfire for Team Scotland. And now what can Sinclair do to really make this difficult with the U.S. already lying 3 with her last rock.
Yeah, Jamie's got a chance to get this last rock wrapped around that yellow guard right into the forefoot, even right to the top of the button. She could make this good enough to almost ensure a steal of 1.
But again, yeah, 2 feet more is okay. This is heavy.
It's really solid.
Keep it brush down. It's really heavy.
It's really heavy.
Really
Keep
heavy.
it
Brush down.
It's like back house.
back house. Okay.
Back 8, back 4.
Jamie's in a little different track.
You want to bring it all the way back?
I think we can just let it dig. I think we just, it's really hard.
Keep it going.
It's trying to stop. Not bad, it's buried. They would have loved to have had it in the top of the button, but
Yes. I didn't really believe
it's
you
not
guys.
too bad.
I was like, 5. We were like, we can sleep it a little, but
So now Scotland's got 1 rock to work out of a jam here. Hoping to have a big end with hammer, but right now it is damage control.
It's really important now that the Scots take advantage of that rock just thrown by Jamie Sinclair, so they know the speed and they know the line, which will help them make this shot.
Remember, they were fooled on Morrison's last, which came up well short. And you heard Sinclair's front end think that Jamie was going to be well deep, so really have to understand the situation here.
Yes! 7, 8.
And this is a great example of
Really
how
hard,
important it is to
girls,
pay
really
attention
hard.
to every rock that comes down a path.
Really hard. Go, 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 go.
That's got to go, and it doesn't. Morrison is short again, and the U.S. is going to steal a pair. So the Americans add to the lead without hammer. Frustration for Scotland, smiles for Team USA. Why not? It's 4-1 in the Americans' favor.
at first I went down, I was like, 10 feet slower here, and they're like,
First multiple point lead here in this game between the United States and Scotland with that steal of 2 for the Americans in the last end. Taylor Anderson leading off for Team USA. 4-1 the score here in our 8-end game with the first rock of N6.
Nice throw, Tay.
Good start there by Taylor Anderson. That one right into the top of the button.
And Pete, just a miscue tail end of that end for Rebecca Morrison and Team Scotland. Jamie Sinclair able to capitalize. And the Scottish team has kind of hung around here with a team that was part of the World Championships the past 2 years for the United States.
And just unable to make that save in the last end. Jamie Sinclair made a nice draw on her last one to get a second rock into the forefoot.
whoa now. Good shot, Ailey. Good, Ailey.
Team Scotland just struggled a little bit all the way through the lineup with the speed. Haven't been quite as precise as they need to be with their draw weight.
I'm good. 1.5, 2. Lots of rotation. 2. Got a bit of room. Pretty tight. Okay. Just split center is real good. 3, 4.
I think you gotta
And
go.
Corey.
You gotta go, Corey.
This one's good if it's tight to the rings or even just on the front of the 12-foot.
Nice. Really nice pair. She's managing them super well.
It is.
Tay might have a little bit of a mismatched pair of rocks here, but doesn't seem to be bothering her too much. Heard Corey Christensen mention that she's managing them quite well.
4. Yeah, it's moving now. 3. Really hard, Ghettos. Really hard. 3.
Of course, you hope all of these rocks would be the same, but ultimately they are not.
That's okay,
Everyone's got its little bit different characteristic and quirk to it.
That's my point, we're not.
Sometimes you'll find one that's a little different speed than the rest of the pile, or one that curls a little more or a little less.
Like a 15 is okay, or 10 maybe?
I like a 15.
Certainly a long way from the birthplace of the game, which is generally agreed that it was Scotland, 16th century. Curling took place on frozen marshes using channel stones, which were naturally smoothed by the water's action. Principles of the game were kind of similar to the modern game, although certainly things were different. We expect those channel stones may not have been one and the same, but they figured it out, and all these years later, we've got the modern game. Guard put out there by Team USA.
What? I kind of jumped that, sorry.
And the Ice Techs have perfected their craft now. The surface that they put down for these events is just nearly perfect anywhere that they go play now.
Yep.
Jennifer Marshall.
Really hard, Haley. Hard, Haley, hard. Any roll, any roll, go. Hard.
Able to pound that U.S. rock out front of the house. Underway at N6, U.S. in front by 3. Six then, Scotland has the hammer, but the U.S. has the lead. Corey Christensen about ready to play here for Team USA. One red in the house and a lot of yellow out in front for Team Scotland.
I like this more positive. Yeah, definitely more. Mine's good. Easy. Weight's close. Whoa. Mine's good. 6, 7.
Interestingly enough, Scotland had originally tried to peel the front open and then switched gears and attempted to throw a draw into the forefoot, rubbing the outside guard and leaving this available for Corey Christensen.
Right to the top of the button. Beautiful shot there for Team USA's third. How about another American team playing in this draw? It's John Schuster and the U.S. men, down 1 to Italy. Schuster sending one screaming in off traffic in front, and that does work out to 2 for Team USA. You can hear him apologizing to his Italian counterparts. Not what he intended, but the U.S. is in front with 2 to go. We hear the excuse me's in different sports that a lot of people say that we know that they don't always mean.
Now that was a little sloppy. John, I think, was sincere in his apology there. That was not how he was trying to score. It worked out.
Does go on the board for Team USA. Maggie Wilson now here for Scotland.
Okay. All right.
A lot of yellows moving, but Scotland trying to make something happen offensively after giving up that steal of 2 in the last end.
I think.
What was my guard here? Like
Right now, though,
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah. Just
work
off
with
center.
the U.S. having
Okay.
the only 2 scoring ones for the moment.
Team USA looking pretty good here
This
now
side is still the same
with
speed as
one
mine.
guard we see just off the center line.
Yes. Similar to this intern?
Yeah.
Jamie Sinclair now
Yes.
going to cap that rock just short of the forefoot.
Good ad.
3 positive.
Mine's nice. 1.5, 2. 2.5. 2. 2. Tay, you can go a bit. Tay. 3.
Trying to get
Yes,
this
Taylor.
rock
Yep.
inside halfway. By halfway, I mean halfway between the
Easy, easy.
hog line and the house.
Easy. Let it die. Good spot, Jamie.
Good. Nice. Nice shot.
The front end approves.
Oh, seems to be hot quick. Onto this, coming this way.
Pretty close to perfect. I don't know if there's a hole there or not between those 2 guards.
Make a nice hop.
I just don't think we're reading that side of the sheet
Yeah,
at all.
exactly.
So
I think the shot's there. It's
I just don't think we're reading it, so I'm a bit worried about
because
that.
other options we peel. If they put it back perfectly, we're going to be forced to play that for our one.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to play it anyway.
Yeah, we would really go for it.
like that's our chance for 2. The peel's playing it safe. So I think we should go for it, if you're happy to play it.
We're gonna have to. I don't know what ice is.
I'm gonna say about
So
there.
the Scots discussing their options here.
11 and a half?
Okay.
Could double peel the front,
Maybe 12 and a
but they're
half.
definitely forced to a single if they
11
do
and a half.
that.
Yeah.
It's not 12 and a half.
Okay.
The other option here is to come down with the in-turn and tap that rock that's on top of the button to the back of the forefoot and lie 1. That would actually give them
11 and a
a
half.
chance to score 2.
You heard Maggie Wilson ask Rebecca Morrison about the shot she's going to attempt here, if you're happy to play it, and she didn't look real happy to play it, but it's the shot you have to play here considering the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think it's the right call. There's enough curl in the ice. The guard's long enough she can make this tap. But that's the dynamic that we talked about earlier, where Maggie Wilson's skipping the game, Rebecca Morrison is throwing last rock, so they need to come to some sort of agreement. The last rock thrower needs to be comfortable, or at least come to terms with the shot selected.
Hard, Ailey, right over. Gonna swing it, Ailey, go, go, go. Pan hard to Ailey, pan hard to. Really hard, really hard, really hard, really hard, really hard, really hard, really hard.
And couldn't quite commit, it felt like, to that shot, and it's not there.
Yeah, that one's just overthrown.
Yep. Okay, good try.
And that's fine.
Thrown a little more like a hit as opposed to just throw a draw down there and tap that red rock to the back of the forefoot.
I think down to it. Well, yeah, top house. I think we try to go on top, but.
So now, just like the previous end, the U.S.
Yeah, so I'll give it to you guys.
setting the situation for a potential steal.
Jamie has a great chance here to get this in-turn wrapped around the guard. Lie 3 and give Team USA a good chance at a steal here.
Line's nice.
Line's good.
Weight's there. Line's really nice. Weight's there. Vicky, go ahead. Vicky, yep.
Back to it, Vic.
5. Line's nice. 5. 14-5. You can bring it all the way
So
here.
line's good. They can just hammer this right into the forefoot.
Yep, go, go, go. Okay, whoa, 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 that's good, that's good.
It's a good spot, Jamie.
Nice.
Pretty good result.
That works.
Really tough now for Scotland to even score.
Yeah.
Do you just forfeit and give it steal 1?
From
That red onto there, get 2 of them away, or we fire that in and try and get second shot.
It's harder. I don't like that one.
What would you like, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Peel?
Peel? Yeah.
They could draw the side of the forefoot to give Team USA 1.
Peel?
They do have one real tight corner guard that they could
Peel.
angle into the pile. Maybe kill 2 American stones.
Scotland trying to minimize a U.S. score here in the 6th. Last rock in the end. And that's not going to minimize anything. Smashes off the guard in front. And for the 2nd consecutive end, the U.S. has a multi-point steal. It was 2 in the 5th, and now it's 3 more in the 6th as the U.S. rockets in front, 7-1. Jamie Sinclair and the Americans doing it with defense. Past 2 ends, they've combined to steal 5 points from a Scottish team which has had the hammer in those ends. 7-1 the score. The U.S. will shoot first again here in the 7th of our 8-end game. Jason Knapp, 8-time U.S. national champion and Olympic bronze medalist Pete Fenson. Tanith White along for the ride as well with you here on NBCSN Curling Night in America. And Pete, this seems like Just a night where Jamie Sinclair's kind of taken what the game has given her and used it to this nice lead.
Yeah, the last few ends, Team USA has been quite sharp, actually, having nice rock position and putting lots of pressure on the Scots. And it shows up on the scoreboard now.
Haley Yeats throwing out a guard here for Team Scotland. So they try to potentially get a big end to work back in it. Good look at the crowd here at the Polar Iceplex. Practice home of the Carolina Hurricanes from the National Hockey League, serving as the host facility for NBCSN Curling Night in America this season.
Hard Corey, 5-6. Hard Corey.
Big scrub here. Taylor Anderson's second rock. They're just trying to pull it into the forefoot.
Corey with the gun. Well, we got that parallel going.
So a couple of shots of quality from Taylor Anderson. And now here is Yeats second.
Yeah, go a wee bit early. 4. Yeah, hard for line. Hard for line. Go. Really hard for line. Really hard. Whoa. Let it right.
Another guard here for Scotland, but plenty of work to do as the U.S. is up by 6.
We don't need to hit it.
Jamie Sinclair's team,
Yeah, have all of it.
comfortable cushion for the moment here in our 8-end game, 7-1 against Scotland.
Yeah, hit Hellvic's side. We're going this way, right?
Corey Christensen ready to play now.
Okay. Can I have a little more? Yeah. You got this, Corey.
Did we call 9-5?
Yeah.
Team USA here with a big lead, just playing a little defense.
9. Close. Oh.
Close. It's Caroline. It's definitely Caroline.
Yep. Oh, gosh. Yep.
Hard. Go.
Sinclair helping escort that yellow rock out of the back. And 2 in the top of the 12-foot that count right now for the Americans.
Okay. Good call.
Yeah.
Good.
Go underneath. Yeah.
Looks like no double available here for Scotland because of that yellow rock of theirs in the top corner of the 12-foot. That middle red one is pretty tough to remove right now.
Maggie Wilson from Aberdeen
Whoa. Ailey.
in her home nation.
Really gotta swing it, Ailey. Really gotta swing it.
Yeah,
Right
go.
over center. Right over center. Right over center.
Hard, Rebecca. Really hard, Rebecca.
Took on that double Pete still and almost made it work.
Nice stand, corrected that.
Works. Keep trying.
Made contact, but they were able to squeeze that rock out the side.
Okay.
And force the one red of the U.S. The
Yeah, that was
second
close.
rock in
Yeah,
that
it's the
pairing
same.
all the
You
way to
just
the
gotta
back of the
watch it here.
12-foot.
Okay.
Peel the guard. Like,
Then we just give him 2. Right?
As Jamie Sinclair slides back, getting ready to roll. So many big events for
on this half, like same
Jamie
as in the
Sinclair in the
12.
last few years. Again, you win a slam, you get invited to a lot of things, earned her way to a couple of world championships, played the Continental Cup, All-Star event in Las Vegas. Been part of a big learning curve
I like the weight.
with a lot more games, with a lot of pressure.
Mine's nice. All there. Okay.
T-line plus.
Okay.
Classified as
Almost
seasoning.
even with the back one.
Even with the back.
More
one.
times you
No, it's
are
digging
put in those
in.
situations where you have to make big shots.
Thank goodness I just let it stop.
The better you typically get, the more relaxed you become.
Hey,
Okay.
They'll do.
U.S. now with a pair of rocks
I think it works.
in the back of the 12-foot.
Had like a time on it already. Close.
Jamie was hoping that would
Yeah.
slow down, and it did enough.
Okay, right in behind.
Yep. Got it.
Rebecca Morrison trying to put the difficult shots that she faced in the last couple of ends aside and focus into helping Scotland get a nice score here in the seventh.
Sure. Gonna go. 4-5. All the way. 5.
Trying to make this draw around the guard.
Right back here, right back here, right back here. Go, 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 go. Right over, right over. Go, 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 go. Gracie really hard. We're dying there. Yep. Yeah,
Got a corner buried.
You could play control nose. Yeah.
Jamie can play it
That's
soft
getting a little too cute.
and let it curl to the nose, or she could probably also just throw peel weight and pick it out the side, and force Scotland to drop her one.
Like almost all of it.
Oh yeah.
7/8. I think we just.
They're forced if you pick it.
Yeah, I just can't do this.
We just can't jam.
Or stuff it. Lose my shooting game.
Even if they want to play
That's true.
9-5, we just have
Corey and Jamie here discussing their options. Jamie recognizes
Yeah, I mean the draw
there is a little bit of danger here if she happens to stick this yellow rock back on that red one of her own. Possibly leave Scotland a shot for 3.
Just easy. Okay.
a third should do it.
Okay.
Half is cutting it close.
Okay.
So they're playing the pick, just trying to
Corey's moved here. Yeah. She was started a little
run
on
it across the
side,
top
but
of their
then
own in the back of the 12-foot
I think
and
it'll
lie
move
2.
For sure. Easy, clean. Yep.
Sinclair hoping to pick a piece
Yep.
and remove this rock.
Nice. Good.
Got the right piece. It's out.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we'll same again.
And now Scotland trying to figure out, is there any shot for 2? And the answer is no.
You know, there might be an out turn past that red guard. It's so long, they might be able to throw it kind of soft past there. And I don't know if they'll get enough curl to roll all the way across and bump that other red stone. So they're just going to draw for 1. Down 6, maybe worth a try to try and get 2.
Morrison will
Touch up for last.
let this roll and hope that it gets in for 1.
5, 6. Yeah, 6, 7. Make sure.
Yet it's been a trying series of last shots in the last few ends for the last rock shooter for Scotland.
One yellow.
Open draw, though, does work. And Scotland scores. But it is a force of 1. The United States still in control. 7-2 the advantage with 1 end left to go. Stick around for the conclusion of NBCSN Curling Night in America in a moment. John Schuster's team has also been busy in this latest draw and up against it here. Final end, down a point. Schuster needs to make something happen here with this last rock.
He's playing an in off his own to try and kill that Italian stone in the back of the button and score 2 for the win.
Nice shot, John.
And in fact, he'll score 3 for the win with that other counter side of the 12-foot. Good enough, 7-5 as Team Schuster notches another victory. Back to our featured game here tonight. Jamie Sinclair and the American women looking to put this one to bed. 7-2 entering the final end against Team Scotland. Again, under our NBCSN Curling Night in America rules, no concession until you run your opponents out of rock. So Here in the last end, Scotland would need at least a steal of 5. So we'll see if they can get to that point or if the U.S. can eliminate enough rocks to earn the victory a bit earlier. Certainly the advantage here for Team Sinclair. Still, they've got to go through the process. Taylor Anderson's had a fine game in leading off for this American crew.
Taylor attempting to just tick this center guard, move it off the center line a little bit. Oh, nicely done, and rolls the shooter all the way over to the 12-foot.
Really nice, Tay.
So some talent with the tick for Taylor. Yeats playing again, says she didn't like it out of hand.
Jen. 1.
He's just trying to replace that center guard.
It's fine.
Good enough for the Scots.
Yeah, they'd love that touching the center line, but that'll definitely do the job.
Little more. Oh, no. Little more. Need it thinner. Need it thinner. No, Corey. All right, Corey.
Or Taylor called him off right as she let it go.
Yeah, all the way. Yep. Keep going. Good sweep.
So that tick didn't quite work the way they wanted, and wanting that shooter to keep scooting out the back of the house, not have it stay there as backing.
Yeah, they don't need any rocks in play. They'll start to peel as soon as they can.
Jennifer Marshall, strong shooting out of the 2 spot for Team Scotland.
4. Okay, just let it move then. 3.
Marshall now attempting to throw a tight guard.
Okay, go, Ailey.
Trying to get it buried around that one that's right on the tee for team.
Really hard. Right over. Okay. Sorry. All right, killing the one on the right. You got this.
That rock not completely buried, so Vicky Persinger is going to try and remove it.
Whoa, Corey. It's fine, it's got it. No, Corey, get off.
And can't quite take it all the way out.
Vicky needed to make sure she made contact with something yellow and kill it, actually remove it from play.
Just aim it. Quite high though.
She at least moved it into the open now, kicked it out from under that guard.
This is 7. Okay.
Again, Scotland has a lot to accomplish here to try to at least force a one-shot shootout. That's what would happen if we were tied at the end of regulation. No extra ends here in our curling night in America format.
9, 10. Okay, it's coming down now. 7, 8. Can you go a little, Ailey? To where? Like
No.
Here.
This one's on a pretty wide line and quite heavy. Does stop in the back of the 12-foot, however.
Sorry, I didn't want to oversweep it. I didn't know where you'd want, how far back you'd want it.
2 counting right now for Scotland. Persinger ready to go after another.
Vicky could make this double on the 2 yellows in the house.
That's more like it.
No double, but a good result there. Rolled into the 4-foot.
Maggie Wilson getting her target line from Rebecca Morrison. Trying to keep hope alive here against Team USA.
Making a play on this U.S. stone in the forefoot, trying to roll under cover. They could also just draw at this point. They got a couple of rocks left still in this end.
Hard, Daly, hard, Daly, hard. Hard, Daly, hard.
But that doesn't help the cause. Knocks out one of their own, and the shooter exits too.
I think so.
And that's going to run Scotland out of rocks and the ability to tie, and that will bring concession. Jamie Sinclair and the Americans win it 7-2. Wrap things up from Raleigh in just a moment. NBCSN Curling Night in America has been brought to you by TeamUSAFund.org. Every donation matters. Show your support for Team USA. Visit TeamUSAFund.org to make a gift today. By the members and sponsors of USA Curling. By the World Curling Federation, proud supporter of curling everywhere. And by Toyota, going places. 7-2 the final for Jamie Sinclair as Team USA does it with D. 5 of their 7 points earned via steals. And the American skip ready to chat about the victory with our Tanith White.
All right, Jamie, congratulations. Scotland had a little bit of pressure on early on in this match, but you really cemented your lead there in the second half. What was it that came together that allowed you to run away with it in the final few ends?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was patience, and I think a lot of it was just figuring out the ice. We finally figured out the 2 different speeds, and we were able to make a lot of draws, put a lot of pressure on them with a lot of rocks inside the forefoot.
And you mentioned patience. When you and I talked earlier this week, you said in reflecting back on the last Olympic season, you feel it just wasn't your time. Do you think this is the start now with this team of what may be your time in 2022?
Yes, definitely. At least I hope so. Yeah, definitely feeling confident, feeling like all the experience that we've gotten over the last 2 years since those Olympic trials are going to pay dividends. So excited for this upcoming cycle.
We're excited to watch. Jamie, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tanith, Jamie, thanks. Time now for the Jägermeister shot of the day, and Sinclair here with a key one in the 5th.
Without the hammer here playing 5, this is where the game starts to turn. Team USA's got one under cover. Jamie Sinclair is throwing the in-turn draw into the forefoot. Trying to put some pressure on the team from Scotland. This one puts the brakes on right here in the back of the forefoot to allow Team USA to lie 4 and set up an eventual steal.
And the U.S. was able to take 2 away without hammer in that end. That put them in front by multiple points to stay en route to the victory. Other scores from this draw. Japan's men over Scotland, 4-3. You saw John Schuster notch the victory for the U.S. men a bit earlier with that in-off his own rock for 3 in the 8th to dispatch Italy 7-5. And the Japanese women won better than the Italians 5-4. So the overall standings, the quest for the coveted American Cup at the end of our season-long series. Right now it's a deadlock between the U.S. and Italy, with Japan and Scotland both giving chase. More chances to earn points for these 4 nations coming in the next edition of NBCSN Curling Night in America. And Pete, once again, we'll see Jamie Sinclair and the American women in action.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can pick up where they left off in this game. They had a nice, strong finish against Scotland, so hopefully they can keep the ball rolling in the right direction.
Italy's women's team will be the opponent for the U.S. next time, and we'll see how Team Sinclair fares in that showcase. On this night, the Americans able to be patient and eventually prevail against Scotland by a final count of 7-2. Glad to have you along for the ride. For Pete Fenson, Tanith White, and our entire crew, this is Jason Knapp wishing you a good night. And thanks for making this night another great NBCSN Curling Night in America.